Because there's 3 on the page. Which one do we has a purport? How far should we go? This one? Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiraye. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, we offer our obeisances to Narayan, the personality of Godhead, to Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, to Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavat yutama shloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. By regular attendance in classes of Srimad Bhagavatam, or by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is inauspicious in the heart will be destroyed almost to nil, and thus loving service to the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental song, comes into being as an irrevocable fact. So we have a few verses because no purports. I'll just read through them and we'll chant together on after. Nagnir na suryo na chachanda taraka nabur jalam kam shwasano tavan mana. No, that's right. I hope I'm in the right chapter, right? Chapter 84. Huh? Yeah, I'm just checking. Upasita Veda Krito Anantyagam Vipaschito Gnadi Muhurta Sevaya. Neither the demigods controlling the fire, the sun, the moon, and the stars, nor those in charge of earth, water, earth or fire, speech and mind, actually remove the sins of their worshippers, who continue to see in terms of dualities, but wise sages destroy one's sins when respectfully served for even a few moments. Purport. An immature devotee of the Lord may accept only the deity of the Lord as divine and see everything else as material. Even the Lord's It's a different one, huh? What? Verse 62. Is that what it, oh, I thought it was 12. Sorry. I can't read, there's no light here, you know. Can't see the book. And the eyes are not young. Asmas vapritikalam yan kritagyesu satamai mait yarpitaha chapi. The Supreme Lord must have created the bonds of affection for such exalted saints as you have never stopped showing matchless friendship toward us ingrates, although it has never been properly reciprocated. Prag akalpas cha kusalam bratar vo nacharamahi aduna shri madadaksha na pasyama pura sata. Previously, dear brother, we did nothing to benefit you because we were unable to. Yet even now that you are present before us, our eyes are so blinded by the intoxication of material good fortune, we continue to ignore you. Purport. While living under the tyranny of Kamsa, Vasudeva was unable to do anything to help Nanda and his subjects defend themselves against the many demons sent to Mathura to kill Krishna and Balaram. Naraja Shir. Okay, we'll chant this one. This is 64, right? Because there's good purport. Naraja Shir Abut Pungsa Shreyas Kamas Yamanada Swajanan Utta Bandumva Napashyati Yayandatak Naraja Shir Abut Pungsa Shreyas Kamasya Manada Swajanam Utta Bandumva Napashyati Yayandadak. Okay, go for it. Naraja Shir Abud Pungsa Shreyas Kamasya Manada Swajananda Bandumba Pashyati Yayandadrik. Okay, ladies. Naraja Shir Abud Pungsa Shreyas Kamasya Manada Swajanan Utta Bandumba Pashyati Yayandadrik. Okay, I always say ladies because Prabhupada always said, at least when I heard it, very respectfully. Na, may not, Raja, loyal, royal, Shri, fortune, Abut, arise, Pungsa, for a person, Shreya, the real benefit of life, Kamasya, who desires, Manada, O giver of respect, Swajanan, the kinsman, Uta, even, Bandun, his friends, Va, or, Napashyati, he does not see, Yaya, by which, opulence, Anda, blinded, Drik, whose vision, O most respectful one, may a person who wants the highest benefit in life never gain kingly opulence, for it leaves him blind to the needs of his own family and friends. Repeat that. O most respectful one, may a person who wants the highest benefit in life never gain kingly opulence, for it leaves him blind to the needs of his own family and friends. Purport by the followers of Srila Prabhupada. It is, of course, out of his deep humility that Vasudeva is berating himself, but his condemnation of opulence is in general valid. Earlier in this canto, Narada Muni delivered a stinging criticism of Nalakuvara and Manigriva, two wealthy sons of Kuvera, the treasurer of heaven. Intoxicated by pride and liquor, the two had failed to offer proper respects to Narada when he happened upon them as they sported naked in the Mandakini River with some young women. Seeing them in their shameful condition, Narada said, Na yanyo jusito josyan buddhi brahmsho rajoguna Srimadad abhijat yadir yatra stri dutam asava. Among all the attractions of material enjoyment, the attractions of riches bewilders one's intelligence more than having a beautiful body features, taking birth in an aristocratic family, and being learned. When one is uneducated but falsely puffed up by wealth, the result is that one engages his wealth in enjoying wine, women, and gambling. Srimad Bhagavatam 10.10.8. Om Agana Timirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya. Everyone can do it. Chaksura Militanyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarane Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyebhacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnave Bhyo Namaha. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namani Gora Tvishe Namaha. Hey Krishna, Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate, Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute, Tapta Kanchana Gaurange, Radhe Vrindavaneshwari, Vishabhanu Sute Devi, Pranamami Hari Priya. Krishna Tvadiya Padapankaja Panjarantam Adyaiva Me Visatu Manasaraja Hansan Prana Pranama Samaye Kapavata Pittai Kantavaro Danavido Smaranam Kutaste. Janmaisvarya Shruti Shibir Edamana Madak Puman. Queen Kunti is saying that people who are after these things, high birth, so-called high birth, everybody thinks they have a high birth, actually. Whatever country they're from or tribe they're in, Gotra, or Janma Aishvarya, wealth, and education, and beauty. So here it's saying that wealth is the most bewildering. It's stated when the four Kumaras were instructing Prithu Maharaj, they said there's nothing worse for one's spiritual life than being mad after money. But that's the basic push of the world these days, the mode of passion. If you get money, you don't have to worry. You can go to the best hospitals. You can buy some beauty, right? Everywhere I go in traveling, many airports, even in the baggage claim, they're advertising the aesthetic clinic, you know, that they call plastic surgery. I asked one doctor, he was doing something for me, why do they call it plastic? You know, right? It doesn't mean like plastic. It's from a French word that means to change things for the better or something. So And the richest doctors in America, the two top richest practicing doctors, are those kind of surgeons. One is in Los Angeles, where all the movie stars are constantly trying to maintain their beauty. And the other one is in Miami, Florida, where all the rich old people live, and they want to try to be young, you know. So they spend, the doctor, he said, you wouldn't believe how much people spend trying to look beautiful, what to speak of clothes. If you just drive down through here at Juhu, right, it's all these expensive clothes. I don't know if they're necessarily beautiful, but it's all meant for Krishna. Krishna is the most beautiful. No one can ever compete with Krishna. But this madness for money, it's being promoted so much. So many schemes are popping up. You know, just connect to this AI thing and money will just start coming into your bank account. You don't have to do anything. You'll be getting thousands of dollars a week. And evidently people believe it because they keep advertising. But there's no such thing. And if somebody does win the lottery, they win at gambling, or they invent something that pays off, it's their karma. And they did something, you know, to deserve that. But, you know, and we can see that sometimes they interview these so-called richest men in the world, and they'll ask him about God. No, I don't think there's any God. We don't need God, you know. Many answer like that. Not realizing that whatever they have was given them to by God. And they can't possibly be the richest person because Krishna is the richest person. And the really richest people don't advertise. They live a humble life, you know. But richness is not money. What is that saying? That some people are so poor that the only thing they have is money. They have money, their family rejects them, they don't have any friends, and they're always worried about losing the money, about the business going down. But if we get money, like around here we have many very rich men and women who are devotees, and they give lots of money for a good purpose, so then it's all right. But if it's just for sense gratification, if it's just for the prestige of being the richest man, or having the biggest house, or with the most, like that one person here in Bombay, I think he has, 200 and some cars, and that, what is it, I don't know, couple $1 billion house. It's a very ugly house. And it's still in the middle of Bombay. You know, there's no garden or, you know, if you're going to have something nice, then these people pay a lot of money to go on a holiday in some countryside place. Whereas the people that live in the countryside, they may not have money, but they have everything they need. And they have their own food, they have fresh air, they have all these things. These are the important things. There's one story that comes up sometimes. One woman, she was very, very rich, some kind of fashion designer or something. And then she got cancer. So she's writing, and she said, you know, I was flying in airplanes, I was driving in the biggest cars. Now I can only move in a wheelchair, and I can't even get dressed. You know, before I had all these fancy clothes. And, you know, she's realizing. Fortunate people will realize earlier. Bhakti-tirtha Swami wrote when he was finishing up his stay with us, die before you die. In other words, give it up. Think that, okay, if I'm dead, none of these things are mine. We don't know what's going to happen. No matter how much will you had, and you know, you don't know what's really going to happen to whatever you had. Prabhupada tells about the rich man, and worked so hard to build a big house for his family. And then when he died, came back as a dog, and he went to that house, and they just threw stones, throw him out, right? People catch on to that. But this is what can happen. He might become a tree in the yard of the house because he's attached. But they won't recognize when you come back as anything. If you have secret bank accounts in Switzerland or wherever they keep them, people have these accounts, so they're black money or they don't want anyone to know. And there's no name. Even the bank doesn't know the name of the person. They just have these numbers. You have to have some kind of card or something. You have to have the numbers. And so, but nobody, they die and nobody knew they had that money. That's why Switzerland is so rich. They get all the money. Because the person in the next life, he can't come back and say, excuse me, I have account number such and such, because he won't remember. So this is something we want. If we have money, we want to use it for Krishna. If we have beauty, we want to use it for Krishna. If we have good birth, whatever that is, would mainly be a rich family or a royal family or something, or maybe super talented family, use it for Krishna, then it's fine. You can have as much as you want. Just use it for Krishna. Janma, Aishvara, Shruti, education. So many people, they love on their door or their card, so many degrees, It shows who I am, that I've got a big education. They say you get a you get a BA, BS, and they say bullshit, and then you get a MS, more of the same, and PhD piled up higher and deeper. So many PhDs, they don't know anything, or they know about some I read about one guy, he was the world's expert on cockroaches. So he could identify Indian cockroaches and German cockroaches, and he knew how they eat and how they live, could draw pictures of all of them. So next life, how many lifetimes he might become a cockroach? So many, many things like that. It's specialized now. Education, real education, according to Ramananda Roy, is Krishna consciousness. Then we can use whatever other education you have, whatever skills, whatever we've practiced, it can offer to Krishna. The money. So this is a very interesting statement that Vasudeva is saying, it's like a curse to get money because you get bewildered by it. There was one very famous boxing champion, and he had made like $50 million a fight or something, but he was like Dravida gorilla. His low-class birth came back on him, and he was put in jail, and he got cheated, lost all the money. And he was on interview, and the guy said, when I saw you coming out of the jail, you looked so happy. He said, those 3 years were the best years of my life. I didn't have anything, He said that money was a curse. It was a test from God, and I failed. So I just bought cars and party, and so many people come around. The Bhagavatam says, as soon as we get a lot of wealth, we automatically get these enemies. The taxman, the beggars, the charitable societies, relatives that you never heard of, crying that they need help. In America, they surveyed, a lot of people that won the lottery. They won at least $5 million. 80% of them said, I wish I never won. They end up being broke after a few years, usually. Because first place, they're bewildered by so much money, so they buy all kinds of things. And then they can't take care of it. There's no income. And then all their family and every charity and everybody in the whole that ever heard of them comes looking for them. And it's very hard to resist, I have so much. So we're not mad after money. We do ask for donations. We can use money. Prabhupada was talking to some kind of monks in Europe, and they said they were working on this, what do they call it? Some kind of science, where supposedly you could manufacture gold. And the guy said, of course, we don't need gold. Prabhupada said, we can use it. He would use it. There was one famous so-called guru, and his disciple was saying, my guru, he won't touch money. If he touches money, he just, of course the secretary has the money, but Prabhupada, Tamal Krishna said, my guru would just take it and use it for Krishna. Prabhupada wasn't afraid of money, but he could live with it or without it. He took whatever Krishna gave him. So we're getting all these instructions here. And the relationship, Vasudeva was in the prison, but he's still apologizing to Nanda that I couldn't help you, because he was in the prison. Kamsa put him in the prison, and then Kamsa was harassing Vrindavan. But still Vasudeva has this feeling, such a great personality, and he should have helped. And Krishna and Balaram, when they met them again after they're out of the prison, then they were apologizing. We couldn't come and help you either. Of course, everybody ultimately understood it's all Krishna's arrangement. Some people are very beautiful, some people are born very rich, some people are born very poor. And unless someone knows nature, the laws of karma, these things don't make any sense. Why someone is born crippled, they're born with no arms and their mother throws them in the garbage or something, and someone else is born very, very rich, and it's because of the previous life activities. And it might not, we can't remember these things, and it might not be just one previous life, it could be many, many previous lives. So the knowledge we're getting from Srimad Bhagavatam, this is real knowledge. It can make life worthwhile. Take whatever we have. Businessman has to work, he has to, we have to have money to live, but we have to live according to what money we have. We see a lot of guidelines now, and they say things rich people don't do. They don't buy the biggest, most expensive car. They don't buy all the fancy new designer clothes. They don't buy a $50 million house. They invest their money. And the really smart rich people, they invest their money in their business in different ways, but they also are charitable. And then the very fortunate ones, they're charitable to God. And the very, very fortunate ones are charitable to Srila Prabhupada. In ISKCON, Prabhupada writes in one purport how if you give ordinary charity, you get back the same. And if you give to a Brahmin or something, you get double, and on. And if you give to a Maha-Bhagavat, you get unlimited returns. But it might not be money, It's not instant money like people promise. You just invest here, you'll get back, so much money right away. There's no such thing. That's how the gambling, if you go to West Africa, where I just came from, the mass of people are very poor. And the churches, pastors are always promising, come to my church and you'll get rich. He's very rich, so they believe him. And Bhakti Maharaj said if that worked, then everybody in Nigeria would be very rich, because everybody goes to church and prays for money. But it's not happening. And then I noticed the last couple of years, there's more and more advertising for gambling. So many advertising for gambling. One just said, click bet, it's just, and it's saying like, you just call in your bet, you go to this shop and collect the money. The same way the churches. So people have given up on the churches because they saw that it didn't work. So they're taking shelter of gambling, which is very dangerous. It's the most addictive of all the unregulated principles. Very hard to give up. So we don't gamble. We're giving our life to Krishna. Take that chance. Even if you don't make it back to Godhead, you have a good life. One can be happy, be satisfied with whatever he has. In Japan, when we went for Harinam and stuff, I used to make these nice pamphlets, color 4 pages, with some sort of philosophy and nice pictures. So one time we ran out of those pamphlets. So very quickly on Sunday morning, I took a big piece of paper and I put some little cartoon picture of a Harinam in just pen and ink, and I said, are you not getting what you want and not wanting what you get? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. And then we somehow repeated that on the photocopy machine and made a lot of photocopy. It was like not even this big. And when we went out, I noted so many people were reading it and smiling and laughing, because that's what's happening. And the devotee said, today everybody took it so easy, because it didn't look like something you're going to ask for money, If you have something really nice, you give them, they think they're scared that you're going to ask for money. So, but this is, our Patri Prabhu, he says, success is getting what you want. I remember driving here from Chowpatty, there was, for a while, one signboard, one guy behind his big desk, I get what I want, I'm successful, So success is getting what you want. Happiness is wanting what you get. Being happy. Love, what is it? Love, what is that verse? Being satisfied with whatever comes automatically. Loved, always forget, it's a complicated Sanskrit. Labdusha, yeah. Santushto. Satisfied with whatever comes automatically. Not that we don't work. Krishna says you're entitled to the work, but you're not entitled to the fruits of your work. That's a verse that many Hindu people, they know half the verse. Prabhupada said, why don't they read the whole verse? But it's like the Bible. Many people, they only know one verse, and they don't know anything else. So they're just fanatic on one verse. We have to read the whole book. We want to read all the Bhagavatam. We're going to read all the Bhagavad-gita again and again. We can't choose, I like this one, I don't like that one. It's Krishna. So this message that, there's a story of Ramachandra. There was a dog, and the dog came to complain. You know that story? So, Ramachandra was accepting everybody to, that's what kings would do. So he said, "What's your problem?" And the dog said, "This Brahmin, he's beating me for no reason." So they found that Brahmin, and he said, "Well, I was just angry and that dog was in the path, so I beat him, So Ramachandra asked the dog, "What should we do to punish him?" He said, "You should make him the president of this big temple." So I said, "Why? Why? It's like an award." The guy was really happy, went riding off on an elephant, with fans. And he said, "Because I was previously the president of that temple, and I was proud, and I was mistreating the people. So now I became a dog, and I'm getting beat up in the street." So I have to remember that. Whatever position, because Kali Yuga, pride. When I went to Sunday school in America, in a church, there was one thing they would quote very often: "Pride goes before the fall." Dumbo, Darpa, Bhimani. Actually, that's not what it says. It says, "From pride comes destruction, and from a haughty spirit comes the fall." But anyway, that's a fact. We've seen, even someone's a very, very advanced devotee, if we become proud, we can lose it. Because generally when we become proud, we'll criticize devotees. I think everyone's seen this. I heard something, Pradyumna Prabhupada, Sanskrit man, something about Hari Bhakti Vilas. And so I asked him, he said, "Yeah, I had that book," and Prabhupada asked me, "What's that book you're reading?" He said, "It's Hari Bhakti Vilas." Prabhupada said, "If you read that, you'll go to hell." He said he didn't ask Prabhupada, what he meant. Too bad. But he thought it meant, because people read this, if you eat anything on Ekadasi, you go to hell for 10 million lifetimes, and so they start following these very strict things and then criticizing, "Oh, look at this devotee, he's eating on Ekadasi, or he's only chanting 16 rounds, I'm better than everyone else." And it's very dangerous. At the same time, we need to know what to do, but can't be proud of whatever we have. It's by Krishna's grace. So devotees understand that. I met one man once in Fiji. He's an old Gujarati businessman, quite wealthy. And he said, "I can't even sign my name. Yeah, but by God's grace, whatever I do is working." He was humble. He knew Krishna is giving him everything. He couldn't even sign the check. I guess he put some squiggles like Indians do, but he knew it was all Krishna's grace. So that's what we have to try to always remember. By the mercy of Krishna, mercy of Guru, we get Krishna. By the mercy of Krishna, we get the Guru. Shouldn't be proud, I have a Guru. Devotees asked Prabhupada one time, "Prabhupada, why did we get the best Guru?" And Prabhupada was going, like if you ever listened to his conversations, huh? And kept asking Prabhupada, why we're so fallen, we're so degraded, why did we get the best guru? Finally Prabhupada said, what? What do you mean? He said, like somebody gets so-and-so. Prabhupada said, well, they think they got the best guru also. In other words, don't be puffed up, because then we'll forget, we'll become critical of others, we'll become proud, think we don't have to follow the basic programs or something. So we get from the Bhagavatam all instructions, or some are just very practical. Kuntis Janmaisvarya Shuti Edamana Madakpuman. You can't chant with feeling. Only a person who is materially bereft can chant with feeling. That doesn't mean you have to be on the street sleeping on some newspaper or something. You see that in Japan sometimes. A homeless guy, he'll just put out some newspaper and lie down on the cold cement and sleep. But he thinks he has a nice bed. If they're more wealthy, they get some cardboard. Sometimes they have a whole box. And they sleep in front of the Louis Vuitton shop in the shopping mall and the Rolex watch shop and stuff, because when they close, then they sleep on the steps. But you don't have to be like that. But you have to know there's no value in these things. You have to leave it behind when you go. You can't keep it. That was something, and when I was young, they had these common sayings, but nobody followed them, They said you can't take it with you. In other words, no matter how rich you get, you can't take it with you, so you should be trying to, develop God consciousness or whatever they think God consciousness is. You can't take it with you. There's two things that are sure in this world: death and taxes. You're going to get, if you get money, you're going to get taxed. Many, many people are leaving England because the taxes are so high and there's no government to protect them. So they have to know how to cheat. The rich people know how to play all kinds of tricks so they don't have to pay tax. The poor people, they can't do that. So you get taxed again and again and again on the same money. In Kali Yuga, it's predicted in the Bhagavatam, the government would be expert at taxation. And they're very clever, like gambling. They legalize gambling so much everywhere, but there's a huge tax on gambling. They call it voluntary tax. There's a very huge tax on whiskey and cigarettes, gasoline, but I want it. So they don't even think that we're giving so much money for taxes. Then they make big advertisement. We have reduced the sales tax, or we've reduced some tax. So in America, in every political campaign, they're always promising to cut taxes and tax the rich people and help the poor people. So far, nobody's ever seen it happen, but we always believe it. Okay, this time it's going to happen. In Japan, one time, a guy was campaigning for prime minister, so he was promising to reduce the sales tax, or I think, either reduce it or not start it. But then he got elected, and immediately he made that tax. So there was a big protest. So they made a big show of removing him from office, and they put another guy, but they kept the tax. But people didn't think, They're very clever. In America, back in the 70s, 60s, they used to have what they call the gas wars, and they'd make gasoline very cheap. So then one time, they wanted to raise the price of gasoline, but nobody wanted that. They judged the president by the price of gasoline. So all of a sudden they said there's no gas. And they didn't have gas. The gas stations had hundreds of cars waiting all night, and for quite a while. And then all of a sudden they had gas again, but it was double the price of before. But everybody, okay, no problem. They didn't think. So we have to be careful to utilize whatever we have for Krishna. The world is just for cheaters and the cheated. And Krishna doesn't cheat us. We can try to cheat Krishna, but it'll never work. He knows everything. So take advice. And of course, now Nanda and Yasoda, they're not going to have the association of Krishna Balaram. And Vasudeva and Devaki only got it for a little while. Then they went to school, and they moved to Dwarka. But some people are very lucky. They just give it all up. Brahmachari. Don't worry, Krishna takes care of everything. I know one Mataji, she lives in Vrindavan. I don't know, she get a lot of people come, and she's a tour guide. She takes them around, and she's a good counselor. So when they brought a group of new devotees from Kazakhstan, and so someone asked her, how do you live? How do you support? She said, well, I just do some service, and whatever Krishna gives me, I just, somehow I'm living. And she had asked me, the two of them, they said, can you live just by preaching? I said, well, I am. I'm not even preaching, but somehow I'm living for many years. So they just took that to heart. And these new devotee people, they say, oh, that's great, that's amazing, that's really spiritual, and they really admired that. So we have to be careful, utilize what we have and take care of everything. But ultimately, it's all coming from Krishna. It's not coming from the job, it's not coming from your investments, it's coming from Krishna. So if he gave you the job, and he gave you the ability to have the job, or he gave you the parents that you inherited the money from, or he arranged that you win the lottery, whatever it is, it's really coming from Krishna. So for those who are thankful, thanking Krishna, satisfied with whatever we have, and, if you get more, increase your charity, increase your service. Don't try to increase your sense gratification, because there's no pleasure in it. No, pleasure is very flickering. Chapala sukha, durlava janava. That this human life is very rare, but we should take advantage of it. Krishna is giving us everything. Health, they said, you can think so many things are very valuable in your life until you lose your health. And then no matter what paraphernalia you have to try to enjoy, you can't. So health is wealth. And some people are really suffering. It looks like one devotee, I didn't know him. I came to Japan, and they said, do you want to visit him in the hospital? He's been in the hospital for a long time. He had a terrible car accident and lost one leg. The other leg was broken in hundreds of places, and So he'd been lying in the bed with this wires and cage around his leg. So I was going there and I was thinking, what am I going to say to him? How can I cheer him up? And he was in the middle of a room with so many people, mostly from motorcycle accidents. And he was sitting up on the bed. Oh, Maharaj, Hare Bol, Prabhupada is so merciful. He's so kind. And he showed me a picture of his car. He said, look at this, The car was wasn't his car actually. Somebody was stuck off the road and he stopped to help him. He was behind the car and a drunken guy just smashed into him, on the highway. And somehow he jumped up. Nobody knows. Nobody thought he could live. He was just screaming, Nrsinga, Nrsinga, Nrsinga. 18 months he was in the hospital. But he was completely cheerful. And Prabhupada's so kind, he's so merciful. And he said he was just listening to a lecture of Prabhupada, where Prabhupada said this skyscraper civilization, it can't last. And then he's had the television with this 9/11, the skyscraper getting smashed. He said, just see Prabhupada, he knew everything. It's so great. So, and he's still preaching with his artificial leg and, cooking and doing everything. So that's an attitude of a devotee. Jayapataka Maharaj, he never complained, no matter, all the different, what is he says, I'm physically challenged or something. But I'm so happy to be with devotees. So we have a lot of examples and we should look to it. Chant with feeling. We need Krishna. We don't need anything else to serve Krishna except that he wants love. But whatever we have, use it for Krishna. So they said to stop at this time and take questions. Right? Comments? Yes, sir. See this guest here, he's here every day. Anybody talk to him? The long-haired guy.
I have come here to take the darshan of deities and all of you Vaishnavas. I have one request. That is management is very nice by the mercy of Prabhupada ji. But in the Ekadashi, here the rices are cooked here and sold. This if you can, all the devotees can do. Stop this, so Prabhupada will be happy on the management. So this is actually on that day for the devotees seeing even the rice, cooking rice, it should not be here. So popular society. So this is a thing should not be here. The other people, they should only one day, they should eat there outside. Why in the temple? Only the devotees see, they can also think that I should have, tomorrow I will take the rice. And the Ekadashi, if someone thinks he's really not good. So please, I'm begging this, all of you Vaishnavas, please be merciful. I have come to beg this only. Should not be Ekadashi Prasadam, should not be rice on this restaurant. Please, this.
I couldn't hear everything. I always need a translator. No, Krishna doesn't have to follow Ekadasi. We cook rice for the deities. Right? I don't know if they served it or something. That's another thing. There's different ideas, but Krishna, he doesn't have to follow Ekadasi like that. Prabhupada said that one time he came in the kitchen and devotees were not cooking chapati. Prabhupada, no, Krishna, it's for Krishna. We don't eat it. We keep it. But, all right. Thank you. There are questions sometimes, we serve it, but someone else? Anybody here?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for your wonderful class. Maharaj, what was that quote which you wrote in Japan and you gave it a photocopy to everyone and everyone took it?
About what? Are you not getting what you want, or are you getting what you don't want? I made it up, but I've seen it other places also. I might have seen it, but that's the idea, So then I said what Patri says. Happiness, success is getting what you want. Happiness is wanting what you get. Right? Being satisfied. Because, it's like if you're playing some sport, you don't always win. I saw some statistics, I don't know some of these names. Thomas Edison, I think, he had thousands of inventions, but only one anybody remembers. And in sports, like in American baseball, that's some kind of perverted cricket. I don't know how you score cricket, but there they try to hit the ball. So if you miss 3 times, you're out. So everybody has their average. If somebody has a 300 average, which means 30%, that'll be the champion. That means 2/3 of the time he missed. The famous home run hitter, he was also the strikeout champion. But everybody still remembers him from a long time ago that he hit so many home runs. But the rest of the time he went out, he missed. Nobody cares about that. So, but be satisfied with what we get. If we're complaining about, why did I get this body? Why was I born in this family? Why don't I have this? Why is this other person more beautiful than me? And then the demons are taking advantage of that and trying to, tell you can become beautiful too. All you need. Cosmetic is one of the biggest industries in the world. You see, like Patanjali, Swami, whatever, Ramdev or whatever, and Ravi Shankar, big signboards, peddling cosmetics, shampoo, and all kinds of stuff, What happened to the yoga? They got bewildered. They got famous and rich. And somebody said, you advertise this, it'll make you more rich. We'll put your picture up more places. So hopefully that won't happen to us. We have a product, Prabhupada's books, and they seem to very popular. More and more people are buying them. Okay, anyone else? 1 minute. Zero. By that clock, it's... Can anybody tell me what this clock is for? Oh, really? Does anybody understand what it means?
That is not clock, Maharaj, that is sound decibels.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Well, sometimes the kirtans are way over the safe level, because you can download one app and to show you the dangerous levels. One devotee, the ear doctor, he told me if a doctor saw my ear chart, he would say I was a sniper. You know what a sniper is? You know, they're shooting, so the gun is blasting in their ear all the time. That's why I have to ask for, when people ask questions, certain tones don't register. Some people tell me their name and it has 4 syllables, I only hear one of them, unless they talk really loud. But this is the nature of the material world, so we try to warn people about the loud, but the young people, you guys, you know, you didn't. And hearing aid is a very big business also, very expensive. Okay, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Vasudev ki jai, SriSriRadhaRasbihari ki jai, Shri Gaur. Brajhari told me this outfit that the deities are wearing today is 38 years old. It was made by Narottam Ananda Prabhu and Maithili, who were the first pujaris. And she would travel all over India looking for cloth and stuff to make those super first nice clothes. So it's amazing because it's perfectly brand new looking. But I knew I recognized it. I've seen it many times, but I didn't know that history. Prabhupada would be happy we're not throwing things away and keeping things. Okay, thank you very much for attending and have a good day. Spread the holy name. I don't know if the beach Harinam goes, what it goes today. I went with them one day, youth, very ecstatic to see the energy of the young devotees, running, jumping and spinning all the way down the beach and chanting. This is what the world needs. Hare Krishna. Whose phone is that?